Hey guys, Scott here. Today I want to talk about the age-old question, should I learn a killer using add-ons or not? And I thought about this quite a bit, and I think it is very dependent on the killer. So the problem is a lot of people learn killers with certain add-ons, and some of these add-ons are so effective and strong that they actually change how the killer plays entirely. For example, if you learn Oni using Scalped Top Knot, and you only use Scalped Top Knot when you play, you're not really playing Oni anymore. You're playing Scalped or Top Knot Oni, which is basically a separate killer. And the reason that is because that add-on allows you to use your power at almost every loop in the game, so you don't have to learn which things you're limited by anymore because you can pretty much always use your power. And that's kind of what I mean, where in that scenario with Oni, I don't think you should learn or, consistently use that type of add-on because you're not really getting good at Oni. You're getting good at Top Knot Oni, which is a different killer. And I'm not even exaggerating when I say that. I play a lot of Oni, and the difference between the two add-ons is, or, having that add-on and not having it is absolutely massive. It actually completely changes how you play the game. So for those types of killers, I think it's actually harmful to learn the killer using those add-ons because you're not really getting good at that killer. You're getting good at that killer with the add-on. But there are also some other killers, like Myers, for example, like, his stalking add-ons. I mean, it doesn't change how you play Myers. You're still going to walk up to people and look at them. It just takes you 2 seconds less, 2 seconds less to actually stalk them. So in that scenario where it doesn't change the core gameplay, I think those are fine to learn with and to consistently use. Like, I'm not going to judge anyone for using really any of these add-ons on anyone, first of all. But in terms of learning the actual killer, yeah, it doesn't matter if you stalk someone 2 seconds faster. You're still doing the exact same gameplay, so it's not a very big deal. The main thing I want to focus on is killers that actually massively benefit from certain add-ons. Because, if you're only playing Oni with Top Knot, or you're only playing Spirit with, glasses and then the Daughter Ring, or you're only playing, Blight with Alchemist Ring, or Double Crow, or Double Blighted, there are a lot of killers in this game that have add-ons that really drastically change how they play, and if you only use those add-ons, I don't think you can call yourself good at that killer until you know how to play them without anything. Not to say that if you use add-ons, you're bad at that killer, but it's much harder to actually learn the base of the killer when you're using things that sort of patch up their weaknesses very heavily. So, I guess let's just go over like all of the actual killers. Now, I don't play like twins, for example, so I've talked to people about the twins, what add-ons they use and stuff like that. So, some of these are coming from, not a huge knowledge base in my head because I don't play every killer, with the same amount of time. Let's just go over how effective certain add-ons are on certain killers. So Trapper, we'll start with Trapper. I think he is one of the killers that, you can very safely learn with some add-ons, like Trapper Bag and things like that. Hell, I think you should always use Trapper Bag. That should just be base kit. And I think if you use, a Stitched Bag or a Trapper Bag or anything like that to give yourself an extra trap or two, that is completely fine. It doesn't change how you actually play the game. It just saves you having to walk somewhere and pick it up. You still have to trap in the exact same way. So Trapper, I think, is one of those killers you can use most of his add-ons, and just basically you will still play in the same way. Now, like, Iridescent and stuff like that, it certainly changes things, but the core concept kind of stays the same. Wraith is interesting because he has a lot of unique add-ons that do change how he plays. For example, the one, like, I think it's Serpent, where you kick a pallet and you uncloak as you're kicking, that is a gameplay-changing add-on. And you shouldn't really learn the game only using that because it's not necessarily how he always is going to be. However, you throw on Windstorm or something like that, you go faster. You're still doing the exact same shit. The only thing Windstorm might change is actually getting to a loop faster, so you're learning to cut people off. And he can still do that without the add-ons ever since they buffed him. But for the most part, Wraith has interesting add-ons, but at the end of the day, you basically just uncloak and hit people. It keeps him kind of similar. I just realized I don't want to do this with every single killer because that will take a very, very long time. So I think I should just go over the killers in particular that actually are very changed by their add-ons, and you probably should not learn the killer using those. So there are a couple of ones. I think Blight is a very huge one. Putting on the Blighted Rat and the Blighted Crow, for example, makes you go insanely fast and allows you to get hits you are definitely not supposed to be able to get with base Blight. It would never, ever happen. It gives you incredible map control. Those add-ons are very nuts and kind of change how you play Blight. Alchemist Ring as well. It puts you into this false perception that you can down people insanely fast. Like you can just hit them with your power and then just hit them with your power again immediately. Alchemist Ring is insanely strong. It is so good. So I wouldn't recommend you learn the killer using those add-ons because you're not always going to have it. And when you don't have it, if you're addicted to it, basically, you're going to feel really bad as Blight. So the Blighted add-ons and then even the Turning add-ons, really a lot of Blight's add-ons change how he plays. He's one of the biggest culprits for killers that are drastically changed by their add-ons. So Blight's probably one of the few killers I would say, just like maybe throw on the cooldown reduction ones or something like that, and one of the ones that doesn't really affect how you actually play the killer. And just try to learn him base kit first before you start tinkering with add-ons because he is heavily changed. Oni again was the other one that is probably one of the biggest culprits of this. Scalp Top Knot is completely game changing. It allows you to use your power at basically every loop in the game, which Oni is not really supposed to be able to do. I don't know how Top Knot has not been nerfed yet. It is insanely strong, but that is what it is. So if you only use Top Knot, I would recommend not doing that because I don't think you're really getting better at Oni. You're getting better at Top Knot Oni, which is, I keep saying this, but it really is a separate killer. They perform differently at loops in a very noticeable way. Other big examples, Spirit, Mother's Daughter's Ring, and Father's Glasses. It allows you to traverse distances you are not really supposed to be able to do to a pretty wide margin. And then there's Doctor, who has all of his add-ons change his gameplay. Really, there are a lot of killers. I think I need to get to the crux of it, where I don't think you should learn a killer with add-ons that change their gameplay. If the add-on has no effect on how you play the killer, I think it's perfectly fine to use it. I think Myers is the perfect example of that. You just look at people for a bit less time. Those are fine. But if there is an add-on that changes what you are able to do with the killer, I recommend you learn the killer without using those add-ons, because if you learn the killer only using those add-ons, you actually become like addicted to it, because every time you don't use that add-on, it's going to feel like you're playing a weaker version of the killer, when really you're just playing the normal killer and you've been using the very strong stuff the entire time. So I guess the end message, is that if you have an add-on that really changes the way the killer plays, I would not use that while you're learning the killer. I don't think you'll actually get much better because you're learning something entirely different. But for everyone else that just has simple things that just are quality of life, that's fine. And I don't think that will affect how you actually learn the killer. But that's it. People ask me a lot, should you learn killers with add-ons or not? It's a bit more complicated than yes or no, but hopefully I explained what I think about that. And that's about it. See you guys.